Greetings Mavericks and new viewers. Tonight, direct and live from the Maverick News Network World Studios. This is Maverick News with Rick Walker.
Hello everybody, welcome back Maverick family. Great to have everybody here. We have a lot going on right now. We have Donald Trump at a rally. Where is he? He's in Wildwood, New Jersey. We're going to go to that live right now, as a matter of fact, for like 60 seconds. And then we're going to take a quick break, and then we're going to go to Dragon at McGill University, again in Montreal, where we're going to bring you up to date on what's happening there. And we're going to show you also what's been going on at some other locations. In fact, at one, police have moved in and they've dismantled the whole operation out in Alberta. So we'll show you that. Plus, Chris is going to join us in just a little while to talk about the Northern Lights and wildfires. Here we go.
This man is destroying our country. He's destroying our allies. And you know what?
There's Trump and
I was tough on our allies too, because our allies always took advantage of us. But once I got them straightened out, it was fine. I mean, we had NATO and they weren't paying their bills. And they said, well, what are you going to do? He said, you know, Obama came in and he'd make a speech and he'd leave. Bush would come in, he'd make a speech and he'd leave. Trump came in, he made a speech, and he went back and he said, you guys aren't paying your bills. And when I went back the second time, I couldn't do it the first time. I was in office for about two hours. You know, it's hard to go 2 hours, like I think it was my second meeting was NATO. And it's hard to go immediately. But I said, I'll be back in about 6 months. And when I came back, I said, you're not paying your bills. And they looked at me, they said, well, you mean to tell me, because I said, you got to pay your bills, or we're not going to protect you with NATO. And the press, the fake news went crazy. And you're talking about, hey, they screw us on trade, and then on top of that, we take care of their military. So I said, no, you have to pay your bills. And one of the presidents from one of the countries, 28 countries at the time, 28 countries, only 7 of them were paid up. The rest of them didn't pay. And the United States was paying much more than they should have, like by about 10 times. We were carrying NATO. So we get screwed on trade, and we carry NATO. And I said, if you don't do this, we got problems.
Huge crowd out there.
Stood up and said, sir, do you mean to tell me that if I'm attacked in this very big country, if I'm attacked as a country by Russia, you will not defend me? I said, are you delinquent? He said, well, let's say I was. I said, if you're delinquent, I would not protect you. And you know what happened? And the press killed me because they said, oh, you've treated us so terribly. They respect you more. They like me more than they like other people. They understand. They can't believe they got away with it. For years and years, they got away with it. South Korea, we're paying for their military. We have 42,000 soldiers there. They pay us like nothing. I changed that. But now Biden, I understand, wants to break it. He thought I was too rough, and they're paying too much. They make a fortune. They took our shipping industry. They took our computer industry. They took so many different industries, and they're making a lot of money. They can pay for their military. And these are the things I was doing as president. Are you enjoying this? Let's get on to another subject.
Yeah, we're going to have to get on to another subject.
Is being flooded with Chinese cars, and they don't know what to do. Right now, you know, China wants to take over the cars all over the world. They just want to make the cars for everybody, right? That's wonderful. But we'd like to keep our jobs, if you don't mind. But I'm not going to allow it to happen in our car and truck industry. We're going to make sure that our industry grows. It's going to grow like a weed. By the end of my 4th year, our car and truck industry will be triple the size of what it is now, and jobs will be flourishing. We will be setting records in auto jobs and truck jobs. Under Biden, it will all be gone. You will not have any car maker. That's a big, important industry, too. You can't lose it. You're going to lose it. They're going to lose it. I see what's happening already, and I think that's why I'm up, because The United Auto Workers and Auto Workers General are very smart people, and they see what's happening. And I'm up in Michigan, I believe, because of it. And I'm way up in South Carolina. In fact, I had a little, we had a little skirmish with the governor, and we won by, did we win by 40 points or 50 points? And that's fine. That's fine. We get along with everybody. Crooked Joe has not just set our economy on fire, he has truly set the world on fire. If you want to know how a weak and pathetic president really is, I mean, the things they do, just think about this. This week he announced that he will withhold shipping weapons to Israel as they fight to eradicate Hamas terrorists in Gaza. No, it was shocking to hear it. Even while there are still American hostages being held by Hamas. And they're saying, oh, October 7th never happened. You know, they say that. And Biden has fallen for it. Crooked Joe's action is one of the worst betrayals of an American ally in the history of our country. I support Israel's right to win its war on terror. Is that okay? I don't know. I don't know if that's good or bad politically. I don't care. You got to do what's right. It was a terrible attack. October 7th was a terrible attack. I don't know. It's probably bad politically, but I don't care. You have to do the right thing. There would have been no war in Gaza with me in the White House. There would not have even been a chance. You know, Iran was broke when I was president. I said, if you buy oil, anybody buys oil from Iran, they can't do business with the United States. They were totally broke. Now they have $250 billion.
Okay, so
they made it.
we'll pull out of that and take a real short break, like 60 seconds here. Let me just pull that out of my headphones. All right, stay with me. Dragons coming up right after this. Do not go away.
Greetings, brave Mavericks. Our quest for truth continues. We go beyond fake news. Together we expose propaganda. Together we pull others out of rabbit holes. We are maverick thinkers. We are all unique individuals. Defenders of individual rights and freedoms. Credible. Trusted. Grounded in reality. Maverick News. Maverick News. Defending free speech. Free speech. Donate at freedomreporters.com. Do it now. Tomorrow may be too late. Maverick News. The world is watching.
Okay, let's go to McGill University and the encampment there with the one and only Dragon. Welcome back, sir. How are you tonight?
I'm doing great. Can you hear me good?
Yes.
Good.
Yes. Tell us what's happening there tonight, Dragon, at that pro-Hamas encampment.
Well, today we had a march around 2 o'clock, finished at 5 o'clock at the campus of University of McGill. And right now they're chanting pretty much, well, you know, their own slogan. Earlier, before we get live, I heard the lady voice that media was not allowed on the turf. But as you know me, I'm kind of stubborn a little bit, so and I don't like to that my freedom of expression is being suppressed. So I will act accordingly.
All right, well, just be careful whatever you choose to do there. How big is the crowd tonight?
I would say probably about 250 people tonight. So,
so
it's kind of really crowded, as you can see.
Yes.
There's a lot of people.
So now are you on the lawn where they're trying to restrict access?
Actually, I'm on the lawn. So,
okay.
But I'm being careful and still polite, as usual.
Good, as always. And what activities are happening there? You say there was a march earlier, and now there are what, speeches? No, we lost the signal.
You can see the.
There it is.
I'm losing signal here. Okay.
Yeah, you're back now. We've got you.
Okay. So as
You're
you can
back.
see behind me, you got the chanting square right there. So pretty animated tonight.
Right. Any other media there other than you tonight?
No, I've seen none. Probably some people with cameras, but probably just their phone. But no media. I'm the only one.
Interesting. So we've seen encampments at some other universities dismantled. University of Alberta, it was dismantled. Any indication of police activity there, or any foreshadowing of a possible dismantling happening at McGill?
No, it's pretty quiet on that part actually, and actually I'm intending Monday to start to make some phone calls, and you know what? I'm going to dig deeper into that.
So you're gonna ask some questions and find out what the plan
I'm
is,
gonna
I guess,
ask.
right?
I'll ask police PRs if I can have some interviews. I'll probably also ask with the university campus personnel if there's possible comment or interviews that can be made. So probable
Yes.
more interesting answer that we can get from there. I hope.
Yeah. So let me just check here and see what I can find to see if there's any kind of a statement issued today from their PR people. Seeing nothing. Nothing.
No, it's pretty quiet. They don't say nothing. Basically, they are letting the whole thing going without even saying a word or attesting anything. So,
Well, we do
what can
know
we say?
that, yeah, there was, when this started, there was a student or two students that filed wanted to get an injunction. They went to court to get an injunction. The judge rejected that.
Yes,
And
indeed.
the university itself did issue some guidelines, as you know. We spoke about that the first night, saying that the students would not be allowed to put up any sort of anti-Semitic posters or banners or anything like that. And as a result, it looked like things were going to be pretty peaceful and that they'd be allowed to do whatever they wanted to do. And so they've been there all this time. Things took a bit of a turn there, though, a few nights ago, as we saw when some of the demonstrators came up and confronted you.
Yes.
And so you say that there was chanting or someone was shouting there that media was not allowed. Do you think that was directed at you specifically tonight, Dragon?
Well, the lady had actually spoken about the guy with a GoPro, and well, I will say my setup pretty much looked like a GoPro. It's not, but I look like a GoPro going, so it's probable.
Yeah,
But,
so it's just probably directing it at you. Now, that the woman shouting, was that one of the people that confronted you on either of the two previous
probably
nights?
one time she asked me not to film around or get the shot underneath the tarps and barricade. But that's all.
that was about 3 or 4 nights ago.
Yeah.
When you were shooting video and they asked you not to go behind a tarp they had put up, sort of acting as a visual barrier. What was behind that, we don't know, or why they didn't want you to go back there, we don't know. Any indication? Do you have any idea what might be back there? Or have you walked around on the other side, seen from a distance or anything?
Well, if I go from the other side of the street, you can see probable tents and other. Well, I will say it's probably a campment, so people can sleep around and So yeah, they're sleeping around there and making sure that nobody sees what's going on around.
Right. So, a lot of tents set up.
Yeah. Well, I don't know if you can see from here. You can see like the top of the tents.
Yeah.
Behind the barricade. So, yeah, that's my assumption. it's a campment, so they can go lay down, sleep there, basically living around here for the time being.
Well, it's definitely turned into something of an occupation, and we saw that they are restricting access for some people. You're one of them. For whatever reason, they decided they don't want you around, or at least they did yesterday, but no issues so far tonight.
No.
You just walking
And
around.
actually, I'm on the lawn still, so I'm trying to keep a little bit of a distance, if you will, from the chanting crowd. Not to steer any trouble, but
Right.
that's what it is, right? They can come at any time and say that I wouldn't be supposed to be around or anything like that.
Well, the question is, you know, in response, for me anyway, I would say, do you own this lawn? Do you own this university?
No, they are not, and I don't either. It's a public space, so everyone's allowed around, and whatever the activity they are doing, till it's not illegal.
Right. The university, it's university property. It's common area. The public, they allow the public to just enjoy that open space. Anybody is allowed to use it. So it's not legal for them to restrict access. Simple as that. But you're there. No big issue. Can you maybe turn the camera around or something and just show the crowd a little bit for us there, Dragon, and maybe stroll around a little bit on the outside. Still keep your distance. Stay safe. Don't go any place you don't feel safe.
Well, you got the biggest of the crowd here. Actually, that's the chanting square.
Yeah.
So you got most of the crowd here. And actually, since we have started to speak, I would say that the crowd has kind of dispersed a little bit. So we are a bit less people than we were at the beginning of the stream. But still around 100, 200 people.
Now, you said
roughly.
that police were there on the periphery, and you mentioned that there was a mounted unit there. They had some officers on horses at one point.
Yeah, on the other side of the street around there were actually mounted police, two horses. So basically, they were actually walking with the crowd because there were a march today. I did try to ask where did it start, but the only thing I heard that it was around 2 o'clock. So I would probably suggest that the thing was started around the certain street around probably that part, and they just came around here, and at 5 o'clock they just they were concluding that march, and the police was probably escorting them.
Well, I know that down in the U.S., demonstrations are continuing. There are even some new encampments that have been erected at universities across the United States. All this happening against the backdrop of commencement ceremonies, which are taking place in many places today, following what we've seen several weeks now of pro-Palestinian protests. We've seen on the U.S. side at least 3,000 arrests in various cities across the country. Dozens of students walked out of Virginia Commonwealth University ceremony this morning as the governor there, Glenn Youngkin, delivered the commencement address. So emotions are still running high, and I guess that must be the case there as well in Montreal at McGill tonight.
Well, yeah, there's a little bit of tension, I will say, but it's pretty peaceful compared to other parts of the world where there's the same protest going. So, yeah, it's kind of we are in a different world here. But at the same time, I mean, the confrontation that I had yesterday and the other day before is kind of alluring with the fact that we're in Canada, and Canada is a free speech country, and we're free to do whatever we want. So
yeah, well, this is video from Virginia, Commonwealth University where the governor was speaking, and this is the reaction he got while he was delivering his address. Share it with you here.
Please join me in welcoming our commencement speaker, Governor Glenn Youngkin. Good morning. President Ryan, board, visitors, deans, colleges, faculty, staff, family, friends, Grand Nation, graduates. What a distinct privilege it is to join you this morning to honor and congratulate the class of 2024. I could not think of a better day to celebrate. And it is on this day before Mother's Day where we recognize the many mothers.
So you see that they walked out on him because of his stance on the Israel-Palestine issue.
We all want to simply say thank you. Thank you for your love. Thank you for your commitment that helped bring us all to this day. So to all the mothers here, we wish
a lot of students walking out.
Happy Mother's Day.
Not all the students, though. Not all of them, but I'll tell you, that's an indication of where the mindset is with today's younger generation. All the 20-somethings out there, I guess.
So basically, they walked out because actually the university where they are were just, attesting or being having some good words toward the Palestinian, and they were just actually being, I would say, frustrated of the whole thing.
Yeah, so this was the Virginia Commonwealth University's commencement. So soon after, Governor Glenn Youngkin took to the stage. Dozens, as you saw, of the students just walked out. Others in the audience were cheering as they did that. They held up signs saying things like "No graduation as usual" and "Unacceptable leadership." And they say they were protesting Youngkin's stance on race and gender issues, as well as law enforcement's use of force in breaking up the student protests over the Israel-Hamas war and American support of the Israeli government.
That says a lot. But actually, this is what some of the students here actually attesting from the McGill University that has been actually being suggest to give some money to certain groups, say, for the ongoing war, and this is what's going on. So they are not happy about it.
Now, here back in Canada, within the last day, we've seen the encampment at the University of Alberta broken up by police. This is what that looked like. Interestingly, there isn't really that much video out there of police dismantling that encampment.
Well, they are one of those only footage that we can see from that. Probably because media has been suppressed around there too.
Yeah,
at some point.
They made at least 2 arrests. That was Edmonton police involved in that activity. They were there supporting the university is the way they're phrasing it. The administration requesting police to come in and break up the encampment because they're trespassing, of course, and it's gone on for quite some time there. So, any thoughts
Which,
on that, Dragon?
well, who's trespassing, right? At this point, I would probably argue that the trespassing has been long due now from either part. So
Yeah. And Danielle Smith, the Premier of Alberta, did comment on this, and she says she's glad that the Gaza protest at Calgary has ended. She's clearly looking to restore some order, and that's what we've seen as police have dismantled the protest at the University of Calgary and University of Alberta. So things are progressing. We're seeing some action being taken by police now. But I think, overall, in many respects, a lot of tolerance has been shown because these protesters have been there for, an extended period of time. And, personally, I'm all for protesting, but I'm also not I'm against people violating other people's rights. So there's a balance that has to be struck, and I would say that they've just crossed the line.
yes, at some point, it is what it is, and actually, I agree with what you say. If you look at it, they have been here, if I do remember, since the 29th of last month. So we're already at 2 weeks here. So
yeah, I don't know. If they're not hurting anything, like, I don't see a big issue. But when you start restricting access or affecting other people in a negative way, and again violating their property rights, their right to free speech, their right to freedom of movement, freedom of expression, or whatever rights you might be taking away from them, now you have a larger issue. And,
yeah.
it can put you on the wrong side of the issue if you're violating someone else's rights.
Very true.
I think a lot of people too, Dragon, don't really understand how things work, because I received some hate mail of sorts overnight from some people, and I saw some messages on the videos that we've posted over the last couple of days. For instance, one person was saying they strongly disagree with me about the issue of the university having control over and basically owning the property there, with this assertion that because tax dollars fund it, the protesters should be allowed to do whatever they want. Sorry, what's that, Dragon?
Yeah, sorry. I've been asked, who am I working for? Well, I'm working for Maverick News, actually. No, it's okay. Actually, no, I'm working for, actually, I'm live right now. So, yeah.
Just seeing data.
Yeah, well, actually, I'm just looking around and looking at the crowd and counting how many people. And yeah, that's pretty much what I'm doing. Actually, I have no bias, so I don't support, or I'm not also against it. You're here to access to your freedom of speech, and that's what it is. So, and I'm a freedom of speech advocate. So, I'm sorry, sir, but I'm right now in live, so I'm sorry about that. I've been asked for who I was working for, or if I was live, so.
Right. Again, yes. So he asked you, and did he walked away? Did he?
Yeah, he was asking actually if I was supporting the movement, and I just respectfully told him that I'm unbiased. Actually, I'm not here to express any comment on or opinion. I'm just here to show people that freedom of speech is being expressed, and that's what it is.
Sure.
That's what we are here for. So
Yes. Yeah. Yeah. And if he wants to speak to us, that would be great. Or if they have someone else who would like to speak to us, they can say whatever they want and explain what it is
yes,
that they're there protesting, so people can understand. It's an opportunity for them to get their message out.
exactly. Well, actually, I did invite him with a sign of end, but he just, extracted himself. So at the
Sure.
moment I said that I was live, he was he looked at the camera and just ran away. So
Uh-huh.
I think
Yeah.
he's a bit camera shy, but less than compared to others, which is
Right.
a good thing.
Yes. Well, I'll tell you what, Dragon, why don't we do this? I have to bring Chris on to talk about the wildfires out in Alberta. So why don't we take a break here, and why don't you come back on, say, in about half an hour or so, and give us an update on what's going on there? How does that
Perfect.
sound? Okay. All right, we'll dip out of this, take a quick break, and come back with Chris on the other side. Thank you, sir. See you in about 30 minutes.
Roger.
Okay, Dragon out there at McGill University, Montreal, at the encampment where the protest continues, the pro-Palestinian demonstration, occupation. Let's take this break, and as I say, don't go away. Chris, we're going to give Chris a call and talk about the wildfire situation, which already has erupted, and it looks like we're going to be in for one heck of a dry, fiery, smoky summer.
The information war is raging. Truth without integrity is worth nothing. Maverick News. Because those who have power and those who seek it must be held accountable.
The world is watching.
Join our family of truth seekers. Donate today and add your voice to the chorus of Maverick Knights. Donate at maverickdonations.com. Truth. Integrity. It's the Maverick way. Maverick News. The world is watching.
Okay, let's call Chris. Here we go.
Hello.
Hello.
Waiting for you to call.
You're live and on the air.
Hello.
So say hello to the Maverick family. Everybody's
Hello,
listening.
Maverick. Hi, Maverick family, and happy Mother's Day to all the mothers out there tomorrow.
Yes. Yeah, I'm going to go say hi to my mom too. So,
That's a good idea.
so Chris, tell everybody where you're at. Introduce yourself and tell them where you are tonight, because some people, especially our U.S. viewers, may not be familiar with you.
Okay, well, my name's Chris, and I live in, I'm not going to give you the name of the town, but I live in central Alberta here in Canada. And we have wildfires starting already.
Wow. Yeah, here's some pictures that were sent in that you took. So can you?
They're not as great as I would have liked them, because I was kind of like, you have to take it in the distance, right? But further in the distance to the west,
Yeah.
it was you couldn't even see, like it's so thick.
Yeah.
So I'm east of Red Deer. So, and the smoke, I guess, is coming from the Grand Prairie area. The county of Grand Prairie has already evacuated quite a number of people because there's a wildfire that's going pretty strong there.
Mm-hmm.
And Fort McMurray, they're all on alert because there's a wildfire just outside of the city that's burning, that's getting closer. So we could have evacuations happening there. And I believe we have some fires in BC burning. I don't think the smoke's coming from the BC fires because we've had a northwest, kind of northwesterly wind that started, I say around noon. When I got up this morning, it was nice and sunny and clear, and now you can't hardly see across the street for the smoke. And that's how fast it came in.
Wow. Yeah, I'm sure. I don't think these photos that you sent in really do it justice.
Yeah.
Yeah, I have some other images I can share with people here.
Okay.
But you tell us what it smells like.
It's gross. It's wildfire smells different than a campfire, right? Because you have all the trees burning, you get plastics burning, so sometimes you smell like plastic burning in the air. It's just a heavy, it really gets into your lungs really quick, the smoke. Like, if anybody's got lung health issues, I'd advise you not to be going outside today until it moves on. And hopefully it will. So it's just nasty. Like, I mean, campfire, you know, you get that nice burning smell of wood, right? But a forest fire, wildfire is just a different kind. And I think because, you know, you get the smoke that goes up in the air and then it travels and it's mixing with God knows what else that's in the air. And yeah, it's just nasty.
Yeah, so here's an aerial shot. This is a government-issued photo from the provincial government, and you can see that the smoke is quite extensive.
Yeah. Which I can't see it because I'm on my phone here, but which one? Are you at the Grand Prairie fire or are you at the Fort McMurray fire? Which one are you looking at?
So this is MWF017 is how they describe this fire.
Oh,
so this
okay.
is still classified as out of control. It has been updated. The size of this fire, wherever it is 1,492 hectares. And I'm going to more information. This is Fort McMurray.
Oh, okay, that's the big one. Yeah.
Yeah.
That's the one. That's why Fort McMurray's on alert.
Yeah, and it is.
Again.
It's the wildfire danger there is described by the government, classified by the government as extreme, and I'll show you. So it's a very serious situation out there again for those folks.
Yeah, my heart goes out to them because, I mean, the ones in Grand Prairie got evacuated last year. Remember, it was, I think, 2016 or 17 that Fort McMurray had to evacuate, I mean, the whole city. That was a lot of people. I hope they don't have to go through that again.
Yes, so Alberta Wildfire is currently responding to that fire. It's classified as out of control. It's located 16 kilometers southwest of Fort McMurray. As I say, 1,492 hectares in size. A fire restriction remains in effect for the entire Fort McMurray forest area. People are being advised to be cautious when spending time outdoors. Wildfires, they say, can start and spread very easily in dry grass. And they do have a number to call if you do see a wildfire that needs immediate attention. And that number is 310-FIRE, 310-3473.
Okay. Do you see anything on the Grand Prairie fire? Is there any new stats on that from last night?
Let me see here. There's Grand Prairie here. Grand Prairie forest area, estimated to be about 400 hectares burning, 4 kilometers east of TP Creek. Here I can show you an image of that. Another aerial shot. It's big too, man. Huge. Billowing smoke clouds. And would you say that these fires are starting earlier this year than last year?
To me, they seem like they are. I don't remember them. You know, we're only, the 10th, 11th day of May? Seems to me last year it was like later in May that they started. Yeah. And, you know, the thing is, it hasn't, I mean, I guess the ground is dry, but like we had a heck of a lot of rain last Monday, over 100 millimeters. They may not have got it up that way. I don't know what kind of snowpack they had. I mean, to me, I thought we had an average winter. But again, to the north, you never know. It's just, I don't know, it just seems like it has started earlier.
Mm-hmm.
Like, I didn't even, like it got up this morning, it was nice and sunny. My son texts me and he goes, we can't even see across the street, it's so smoky. And I'm going, and I went back outside and I could smell it in the air, right? Well, within not even an hour, it was here. And it's like, wow, that's traveling quick, because we also have some pretty high winds come in with it.
Yeah.
So.
Well, I think in a lot of areas this year, there was less snow, and of course less snow means when it melts, there's less moisture to go into the ground. That's a big issue out here right now for farmers, I think, because we had so little snow this past year. And it's going to be a big issue as the wildfire season is upon us now.
Sure.
Yeah.
Well, yeah, and that's the thing. And they have been telling us in Alberta, though, like last week, get prepared. So basically, if you live in an area that maybe you were already evacuated once, or you know that the fires could come in, to prepare yourself this year. They were telling people, go around your house, get rid of any trees around your house, clean out your east trough, make sure you pack a 72-hour bag, because if you have to leave, you need to leave. Like if they tell you to leave now, you need to be ready to leave. So make sure you have your animals lined up, who's going to pick them up, like especially your livestock and that. So they've been actually drilling up for the last week out here, but they've actually been, Daniel Smith has actually been talking about it for the last couple of weeks, that they anticipate it to be a rough season. They've hired lots of firefighters that they're actually training. So some of them might have been firemen before. Some of them may have no training at all. They're desperate this year, because last year I don't think they had enough. So this year they're hoping they're going to have enough. I mean, I really hope it doesn't turn out like it did last year. I don't particularly want to spend the whole summer living in smoke again, like last year. It's not healthy, I'll tell you that.
Well, yeah, here that's an image here that I'm showing of a helicopter being used by firefighters. And yeah, the smoke was so bad last year. Yeah, I'd never seen it so bad. We had smoke haze all through the air. Even here in Southern Ontario, people down as far as the city of New York, we're seeing smoke and haze.
Well, see, a lot of these, like the two fires that are burning now, they're saying during the winter, so you put a wildfire, you think it's out, but it's actually under the ground, and it keeps burning, right? And then they'll go out, the fire department, long before, like as it's getting to be spring, and then they'll start digging in the ground, and they know where hot spots are. Maybe they have something that they sense the ground with, and they dig it up. Well, but these fires can come alive, so all it has to do is get in the right area underground and starts burning on something, and then you get that perfect weather outside, and they come out of the ground. I mean, and then the fire is there. I mean, they're not all arson related. I haven't heard of any arson related ones yet out here. I know last year there was about 15, but I think these ones are just because of they were burning all winter, and they've just come alive now.
Yeah, yeah. And people don't realize that is a real thing, that the fires actually do continue to burn even under the ground.
Yeah, because think of how hot it gets when those fires are going through areas, right?
Yeah.
And the ground's burning and the trees are burning, and so they're watering it down and they're putting it out, but all they're doing is actually pushing the fire under the ground. So they get the surface out, but under the ground, especially if you have peat moss and all that kind of stuff.
Yeah.
That stuff is flammable, right?
Yeah.
So that's why they say you should never put peat moss in your planters and then go put your cigarette. People put their cigarette butts out in planters. You should never do that, because you don't know if there's peat moss in there or not.
Yeah.
And that's flammable. That's very flammable.
And then I just showed some video footage there, again released by the Alberta government, of an air tanker that is used to drop fire retardant or sometimes water to help slow down the progress of wildfires. And they say that this year Alberta Wildfires increased capacity by adding 2 additional Q4000 air tankers to its firefighting fleet.
Good. I know it's something very strange in the there's a hotel here in the town I live in, and parked behind it is this, it looks like a big water tanker, but it says Slave Lake Helicopters on it. And I'm thinking, that's a long way to be down here from Slave Lake. And I'm thinking, like, what? I don't know what it's doing down here, because obviously it's for that, like, you know, it's Slave Lake Helicopters, so it belongs to that company, but I don't understand what it's doing down here.
Yeah.
It's kind of bizarre. Yeah, I've never seen that before, so that's new.
Yeah, indeed. Look,
You know, but like everything else, everything's strange these days, right?
it is.
But yeah, I do, anybody that this year that, you know, if you've gone through the evacuation last year, if you think you're, you know, be prepared. There's nothing worse than a fire approaching your home, because once it's there, and you don't have much time. And, you know, you've seen last year people driving through those flames. Like, I don't even know why they wait that long to evacuate them, where it gets that bad where you have to drive through the flames to get out.
Very dangerous.
It
Very
is.
dangerous, yeah.
But what about if your car breaks down? Then what do you do?
Yeah.
Or you run out of gas. Like, a lot of people don't even have full tanks when they leave in an emergency, right? And you got to hope you can get to the evacuation place.
Yeah, or you think you can leave, but if there are trees on fire and they fall across the roadway, you can be blocked in. And
That's true.
if you can't get out, then you will die.
Yep. Well, remember last summer, my son was up in Swan Hills, and he got evacuated, and, you know, luckily that it never hit the town. He was able to sell the house and get out. He's now moved just a little bit north of Edmonton, kind of in this small town, but now it's all farmland around him. So he messaged me today, and he goes, he says, I'm smelling smoke, and I'm seeing it, and I'm getting concerned, because once you've gone through that, you know, and I said, I don't think you have to worry where you are, but it's just the thought of that smoke smell again, right? So I can imagine how people are feeling.
Yeah.
Especially further north today. If they're smelling that again, it's like a repeat, right?
Yes.
And it's not good.
So I know that the wildfire evacuation warning that began last night now includes, and I'm talking about the Fort McMurray area, and the evacuation warning now includes Anzac, Gregoire Lake Estates, Fort McMurray First Nation, and Rickards Landing Industrial Park, Fort McMurray, and Sapre Creek Estates. They're all still under notice.
Oh, wow.
So the wildfire behind the evacuation warning, which is MWF 017, which I referred to earlier, is 16 kilometers, as I said, southwest of Fort McMurray. I already told you the approximate size, which according to these new numbers I'm seeing is now 1,992 hectares in size. 9 helicopters are being used to attack that wildfire from the air, and they're supported by water bombers. 4 wildland firefighting crews and a unit crew are battling the fire on the ground. We also know that heavy equipment is being used to build guards. No impacts on Highway 63 in that area, but smoke thickness is being monitored because of visibility issues, of course. Now there's a second wildfire, MWF 022, as designated by the government, spotted south of Anzac. That before, I guess, 3:30 this afternoon. And firefighters were able to quickly stop that from spreading. Alberta Wildfire considers it to be held, so it's under control.
That's good. So are you looking at, remember last year you would bring up the grid that would show you where all the fires are. Is that up and running? That grid I haven't checked yet.
Yeah, I'm not seeing that. That was on
Okay.
but I might not have the proper link here. And of course, the season is just getting underway, right? They probably
Right.
do have it up, but I probably don't have the right link here.
I may not be up and running yet either.
Yeah.
Because I remember last year it was like everywhere. Remember you were showing fires everywhere in Alberta, right? On there.
Yeah.
And I know that there's a couple of fires in BC, burning, and I think in northern BC. I'm not exactly sure where. That smoke's not going to be great for BC, and if it comes this way, it's not going to be great for us either. Again.
Mm-hmm.
So all I can tell people is if you've been through it last year, if you live in an area that you think, be prepared. Be prepared this year. Let's hopefully nobody's going to go through what they had to go through last year.
Yeah. Well, and the people in Fort McMurray, they've been through so much because, as you indicated, back in 2016, they had that huge wildfire. It began just southwest of Fort McMurray on May 3rd of that year. It swept through the community, forcing the largest wildfire evacuation in Alberta's history. Over 80,000, almost 90,000 people were forced to evacuate their homes. Firefighters received assistance from personnel both from, Canadian Armed Forces and the Royal Canadian Mounted Police. And actually, that's what those wellness checks were about that we just saw about a week ago. It was for this kind of eventuality, this kind of emergency, so that if they need to bring in the Canadian Armed Forces to assist in an emergency like that, they were training those soldiers how to interact with the general public and how to properly assist people and keep people safe, make sure everybody's okay, and take on various roles to support firefighting crews. But,
and I think that's a good idea because I don't know if you remember a few years ago in High River they had that massive flood,
mm-hmm.
and people had to leave, and they brought in the military and stuff, right? So if they come to your door and tell you to leave, don't be telling them off because you're there for a reason that you need to leave now or get prepared to leave.
Yeah, and if people don't leave, like if they didn't tell people to leave and people died, people would be up in arms and they'd say, why didn't you tell people to leave?
Exactly.
It's their job to do that.
And if you go tell them to leave and then they refuse, well, I think there's a point that, I guess they basically say, well, then we can't, if something happens to you, we can't come back for you.
Yeah.
Because we have to move on, right? So they give them warnings.
Well, look how devastating that fire was for Fort McMurray back in 2016. Over 2,400 homes were destroyed. 2,000 residents in 3 communities were displaced. Over a long period of time. 90,000 people evacuated, 88,000, somewhere in that range. And the total cost of all the damage to all the buildings, to the homes, to the infrastructure, over almost $10 billion. The biggest, most costliest disaster in Canadian history. And, of course, you want to make sure that people are kept safe, right?
And they're very lucky. They got everybody out. I think there was maybe 2 people, I think, died in that. But I think that had to do with an accident on the highway. I don't even think that had to do with they were being evacuated. But for them to get that many people out that quick,
mm-hmm.
That's a lot. And remember, Fort McMurray there's only north and south that you can get out.
Yeah.
There's really, the road's not very big up there, so that's a lot of traffic coming out of one place at one time, right?
Yes. Well, back at that time.
And they were bringing people gas. Like, people were breaking down the highway, and they were taking them water and gas. And I remember, I do remember all that kind of stuff that went on.
Yeah. Well, there's common sense is what it comes down to as far as I'm concerned. And if you see that there's a fire coming and they're telling you to get out of there because it's not safe, it's because it's not safe. So
Right.
you need to be smart.
Right.
You need to take care of your
And
family.
I just hope we don't go through the same thing again last year with, people trying to get into these fires to protect their homes. And, like what happened last year, a couple of deaths and stuff. Like, we don't need that again.
Yeah, there was the cases of people getting trapped in there after going around police barricades, and they had to go in and rescue people. Crazy stuff like that. And I know that the politicians don't always get it right. And the previous NDP government under Rachel Notley back in 2016 was very severely criticized for cutting $15 million from the province's wildfire suppression budget back then, before the fires erupted.
Right.
And then you got those problems out in Fort McMurray, and the communities paid a heavy price for that. But
It did. Well, back in I want to say around 205, 210, somewhere in there, they used to have a lot of companies out here that were trained to go to wildfires, right?
Mm-hmm.
Well, the NDP government canceled all them. They got rid of them. So, it's kind of like, why would you do that? And now we could use them all back again, but they've been dissolved for so long that now we're just going to train people. Oh, if you're interested, apply and we'll hire you and we'll train you.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know about that. I guess it's good, but it can be dangerous, especially if you're out in the forest, putting on the front lines there.
Yeah.
It can be pretty dangerous if you don't know what you're doing too, right? With trees falling
And even to date, that big fire in Fort McMurray, the biggest in history, they still have not confirmed the cause of that, but they think it was caused by people, man-made. They just don't know. They don't know for sure what happened. And now I know, as you indicated, at least 15 of the fires last year in that area were determined to be arson.
Yeah.
So we know that happens, and it's other accidental causes make up at least 50% of wildfires. So that's why they put the fire bans in place.
Well, that's the thing. Like, people go camping, they may not get their fire out completely. Or one of the biggest things that contributes to fires is people go camping and they take their ATVs, like their 4x4s or their quads and stuff, and then your dirt bikes, and you go out in the trails, but the ground's really dry, and then the mufflers get caught on the grass, and a fire starts, and these people are gone. They don't even realize that it started a fire, right?
Yeah.
Then there's trains. Trains go by and get sparks that can cause fires going along the rails. So a lot of them just happen accidentally. Right? And that's just but most of them are human caused. Oh, lightning. Lightning's a big factor too.
Yeah. That's very true. Now last night you also went out and took some photos of the Northern Lights. I'm going to share some of those.
They were stunning. Absolutely stunning last night.
Yeah, so there are two images up on the screen right now that you took. A lot of looks like purple in the shots. This is because of this huge solar storm that is bombarding the Earth with rays, or sort of a form of radiation from the sun, and that's what causes the aurora borealis. This is the most spectacular display we've had, I think they said, since 2000, whatever year it was, 2003 or something like that.
I've only ever seen the green. I've never seen those colors. So earlier in the evening, I had taken a picture, and it was like a little bit of purple in the sky, right? I thought, okay, there's something brewing. So that picture that I sent you, that's about 12:30, 1 o'clock. And I just had to stand out my back door, and it was just like right above me. And so you take the pictures with your night mode with your camera, right? But I could actually see the purple. You could actually see it dancing around. I've never seen anything that beautiful before. It's just amazing.
Yeah. No, I took the liberty of enhancing the image you just sent just a little bit with the exposure so we could see the colors. And I don't know if you even realize how beautiful the pictures are that you took. Because as soon as I jacked up the brightness and the contrast and so on, it really brought out the colors, and you could see it even more clearly. So you might want to go back and take a look at the video.
Yeah.
But it's pretty cool.
I will.
Very cool stuff.
Yeah,
Rays
like
of light.
I know, and I'm sure a lot of people did. I mean, I'm hoping a lot of other people got to see it last night. But like I said, it was just stunning, right? Like because my backyard is pitch dark, right? So you look up and I was just, but you could actually just, you didn't even really have to take a picture. You could just stand there watching it.
Yeah.
It was just, it was incredible. I mean, it was absolutely stunning. The best northern lights I've ever seen.
Yeah, and it's happening all over the world. Here's an image from the UK, somewhere near London, shot out of an airplane window. Isn't that is beautiful?
Oh, wow.
And here's some video out of UK. I think he's having a seizure. It's so beautiful. He's just he can't express himself.
Well, and you know, and it's beautiful to see, and it's something totally different. You know, like than what's happening, right? It's just it's nature.
Yeah.
It's just incredible, right? You don't realize what can happen when you get these solar flares happening. How strong these northern lights can get, right?
Yeah.
I mean, can you imagine way up north how great they would have been up there last night?
Oh my goodness, yeah.
Right? And I mean, usually they're just green. Okay, you see them dancing, and okay, they're pretty too, but this was just absolutely stunning. And even my son took pictures from his backyard, and he's about an hour west of me, and they were stunning too. So it was like all over here last night.
Yeah. And again, these images are from the United Kingdom that I'm showing you right now. As I say, it's happening everywhere around the world. So it's very, very cool, man.
Yeah, I encourage everybody tonight, if it's clear where you are, go out. You know, usually about 12:30. They say between 9 and 3 is the best, but I find between 12 and 1 is when they're really active.
Yeah.
Just go out. And if you're in a city, go for a little drive a couple miles outside of the city where it's dark, if you can.
Yeah.
You know, because you don't get northern lights like this very often.
No. Wicked.
You know, like all my life, I've never seen anything like that. I was probably went on and carrying on when I was outside. She was like, oh, yeah, and all my neighbors didn't hear me. They would have thought, what's happening to her? She's not next door. But
Yeah,
no, it was gorgeous.
running some looks like time-lapse footage here, also out of the UK, and shooting stars even.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. Really beautiful.
Wow, that's awesome. Yeah, you never know what you're going to see when you look up at the night sky.
Yeah. Right now, you just don't know.
You just never know.
You never know.
You know, sometimes we get those alien spaceships that pass by that people say they see. I've yet to see one, but, you know.
Yeah.
They're there. Okay. Who knows? But, yeah, so that's kind of what's been happening out here anyways. Just giving you kind of an update that they are starting again, and I will keep an eye out here on news updates and keep you informed again this year as I did last year. Hopefully it doesn't get as bad as it did last year.
I hope not.
I hope not either. But we'll see. I mean, I think we're supposed to get some rain again tomorrow, but we're supposed to get thunderstorms. So, you know, you don't really want lightning when you have these fires.
Yeah, yeah.
That doesn't help. But, yeah. Anyways, Rick, I guess.
Yes.
Unless there's anything else past me, I guess that's it.
That is it for tonight. We're going to go back to McGill University and have Dragon give us an update on that encampment there. Thank you, Chris. Really appreciate your help here tonight.
Keep safe, Dragon, and happy Mother's Day.
Okay. All right.
Okay. Talk to you later, Rick.
All right.
Bye-bye.
See you. Bye. There's Chris out in Alberta. Let's go back to McGill and check in with Dragon. You're still there.
As usual. Thank you, Chris, for the comment. Really appreciate.
Yeah.
So, the encampment right now is kind of getting, actually, it's kind of clearing off. People are kind of getting on their way mostly, and probably mostly there's a few students around, still around, and you can see probably there's they kind of go home. It's time to go home.
Right. Yeah.
Uh,
Very interesting. So things are pretty calm there. So the one person came up to you, just asked you who you're working for, and they've left you alone since then?
yeah. Well, actually, another one just came like 5 minutes ago to ask me not to show people faces for the security purposes. So that's what it is. But I mean, my the Zoom is not good with that, so you cannot see much of their faces.
Sure.
that's
Yeah.
that's
Yep.
that's the weirdest thing, you know. So on the other part, as
Yeah.
you can see, it's kind of clear. The rest of the people are there and going either just sit around and have some fun talking to each others, and yeah. And I have tried to speak to a few people actually, and most of the students actually didn't want to leave any comments. So
Right.
this
Not-
is sorry.
Difficult. Yeah, it's a difficult situation. When
Well,
people don't want to talk to you.
it is, but what can I do, right? I cannot force them to do anything they don't want to, so I'm not pushing anything, you know,
Okay.
as much
Well,
as I will.
So status quo for now. Police is still lurking around out there somewhere in the background, just keeping an eye on things, I think. You
Yep.
noticed them a little bit earlier, so they'll be ready to do whatever they need to do, I guess, to keep people safe. That's their job.
Yeah.
But no indication tonight that action will be taken to dismantle that.
Yeah. You can probably
location.
see the cop car right there, actually. It's right there. On the other side of the street, basically facing toward us. So yeah.
Yep.
This is the only police guys around. They're the only one. So, and probably a few campus security guards, but that's all. So,
Okay.
no sign of authorities or anything in that part, neither.
All right.
So what I'm gonna
Well-
do is probably ask some question this week, because there's thing that I need to answer.
Yes. Have some other messages coming in here from people, kind of giving us some other information about the wildfires. Yeah, very smoky around Edmonton. Yes. And some other information coming in here about the Calgary police. Yeah, footage there. We showed you that. And yeah. So I guess with that being said, Dragon, it doesn't look like there's a whole lot of additional action, but I guess we can sign off with you for now. If there's any major development, just let us know. You can come back on at any time if you need to, but I think it's pretty calm there on the McGill University front tonight.
Yeah, the chanting is done, and basically it's time to be calm and not to be disturbing to probably the student buddies around who's probably studying or trying to sleep. A good night. So.
Okay. Dragon, McGill University, thank you, sir.
My
Great work
pleasure.
again.
And Maverick, guys, please be safe. Take care.
All right. And check out Dragon's YouTube channel. He's over there on One Rising Dragon, like the number 1 and Rising Dragon over on YouTube. So show him some love and subscribe to his channel. It'll help him out. All right, I'll be back right after this. Don't go away.
The information war is raging. Truth without integrity is worth nothing. Maverick News. Because those who have power and those who seek it must be held accountable.
The world is watching.
Join our family of truth seekers. Donate today and add your voice to the chorus of Maverick Knights. Donate at maverickdonations.com. Truth. Integrity. It's the Maverick way. Maverick News. The world is watching.
Maverick News. The world is watching.
Okay, I'm going to show you the size of the crowd at the Trump rally tonight. Let's see what's going on over there right now. Hang on. I'm going to get you the latest out of this feed. Look at the size of this crowd. I don't know. He was getting crowds like this in the last election, and yet, look what ended up happening. Is he in the White House? No. Let's go back to his speech here.
They never turn around, and I'd love them to show the crowd as far as the eye can see. I'd love them to show, but they don't do it. And I used to think it was a mechanical problem. You know, they have the best cameras in the world. They have the tripods, everything. And I figured the steel, you can't do it. But then I realized early in the campaign in 2016, I realized there was a fight in the back. It was a bad fight. Somebody got into a fight way in the back, and those cameras turned around like a pretzel because they wanted to show the fight because that meant trouble. That was a bad thing. So those same cameras that you're looking at, they were turned into a pretzel. They showed that fight in detail. They showed every blow to the face. They showed. So I realized that wasn't the reason. They just don't want to do it. I can't figure it out. Here in New Jersey, you're suffering under some of the highest property taxes and sales taxes in the nation. Just about the highest. And now Crooked Joe wants to massively raise your income taxes, promising that the Trump tax cut. So I got you the biggest tax cut in the history of our country, bigger than the Reagan tax cuts years before. But they want to cut the Trump. He wants to get rid of the Trump tax cuts. Now they expire. So instead of just renewing them, he says, going to expire. And if I'm reelected, he doesn't even know what the hell he's saying. Don't forget. He can't put two sentences together. He can't find the stairs off a stage. Let's see, this stage when I'm finished. I got stairs there. I got stairs there. I got a nice ramp there. I got stairs there. And if it got really dangerous, I could jump off the front, this nice sand. You ever see him when he's finished? He finishes a speech which usually lasts about a minute and a half. And he always goes like this. And then he doesn't know where he goes. But you know, we have great people, Secret Service. They always run up on the stage and they lead him off the stage. They're great. But he wants to let our tax cuts expire. And I don't do that anymore. You know, I don't imitate him anymore. Because I called my wife, our great First Lady, and I said, First Lady, we had a big speech. By the way, not as many people as this. This is like big record stuff on television, even on the haters. They said this may be the biggest rally they've ever seen, political rally. But I called our First Lady. I said, so... It's a lot of people. Hey, look, Superman is up. We have Uncle Sam, we have Superman. I said, First Lady, how good was that? I made a nice speech, one big crowd. I said, and it's all over television. Look at all that press. Look at all of them. So it's all over television. So I said, First Lady, how great a speech was that? Who else is drawing like that? Nobody could draw crowds like that. How great was I? She said, you were okay. Oh. I said, why? What's wrong? Well, you couldn't find your way off the stage. So I was imitating him, and they said I couldn't find my way off. That's what happened. So I have to be very careful. I'm doing the imitation, walking around, and the fake news said, Trump could not find his way off. So I don't do that anymore. I just do a modified version. I do a very modified version. That happens a lot with the fake news, you know. That's why they call them the fake news. But that means that under Biden, the average New Jersey worker will see a tax increase of just on this. Now, I've already gone through 2 tax increases, but you have another one. Add on to what I just said with the inflation tax, because that's a real tax. $2,700 per year at a time when 73% of Americans are living from paycheck to paycheck, which is a record. Never had that many people. But think of it. Oh, I wonder who that might be. Oh, that's Joe Biden. He doesn't want to land. Oh, we're going to win New Jersey. We're going to win New Jersey. No, if we win New Jersey, we win the whole thing. I think we're going to win some others also, actually. If Joe Biden wins this election, the middle class loses, and New Jersey loses. But if Trump wins, the middle class wins, the people of low income really start winning again, and you're all going for the American dream. New Jersey wins, Pennsylvania wins, America wins. We have a lot of people. Who's from Pennsylvania? Yeah, a lot of people. I went to school in Pennsylvania. Of course, you know, it's never quite the same when you're looking, because he's lost control of my beautiful school. They're rioting in front of my school all the time. What's going on here? Instead of a Biden tax hike, I'll give you a Trump middle class, upper class, lower class, business class, big tax cut. You're going to have the biggest tax cut. And we were set to do that. We were all set to do it. You know, it's interesting. When we did the tax cuts, everyone said you can't do those tax cuts. We took in more income after the tax cut, and the tax cut was massive. Everybody here knows it because everybody was affected by it. It created jobs, but almost more obviously, it was just a great cut. But at the end of the year, the country took in much more money. It's sort of amazing. In other words, people individually paid much less tax, but we did much more revenue. So it really does work, you know. It's called incentive. And the Biden economic bust will quickly be replaced with a brand new Trump economic boom. We're going to have another boom like we had. We had the greatest economy in the history of our country. We had the greatest economy. You know, there's never been a time with jobs better than we had pre-COVID. And then when COVID ended, and we did a lot to end it, we did things, therapeutics, we did things that nobody else thought were even possible. And when it ended, you call that a bounce back. Everyone immediately then goes back to their job, or they get a new job, but you have a big bounce back. Well, we get credit for that bounce back. He doesn't get credit. He likes to take credit for the bounce back, but he doesn't really know what it means. Somebody wrote it for him, but he wants to take credit. We had a tremendous bounce back. And it was a beautiful thing to see. People went back to work. We had that damn dust coming in from China, the China virus, and it was a disgrace. I mean, frankly, what happened to this world, the entire world, $52 trillion and millions of people died all over the world. And what a shame. But we handled it about as well, I would say, as any country in the world. And we bounced back for a lot of different reasons, and we bounced back well. On day one, we will throw out Bidenomics, and we will reinstate Maganomics. And we're going to bring manufacturing, tourism, and other industry back to New Jersey like it's never seen before. We were doing it, and we did it. There's never been a better time. Actually, your governor told me that. They've never had a better time than the 3 years. 3 years just prior to COVID. And then after COVID, the recovery was so incredible. We never had a better economy in this country, the history of our country, than it was during my 4 years as president. And we're going to do something, I think we're going to beat it. Now,
Maganomics, okay. Maganomics. So there he is. Tonight he's been talking about the economy. Is the economy stupid? Yeah, that's the main issue for a lot of people. Immigration being another big issue. You kind of know where he stands on the issue of open borders, I guess. He talked there about the pandemic. Not sure how people feel about that. Yeah, I think that's kind of an Achilles heel for him, that issue. But overall, I mean, he still draws the crowds. It feels different to me right now, but that speech seemed to have some of the same energy that was present during his first run for the presidency, where he was successful. And things changed, of course, because of the pandemic, and that second election run was bizarre. No other word for it. The outcome was bizarre as well, if you know what I mean. And what we're seeing right now is also unusual. It's strange. It has a strange feel. Different feel this time compared to the previous two runs for the White House for him, but he's still got that charisma. He still connects with the crowd. He's a great orator, a great public speaker. I'm not sure that I would say he's, his speeches are intellectual. He's connecting with people on an everyman level. That makes him a very successful populist politician. RFK Jr., he's got his own style. It's very, very different. And he seems to just keep running headlong into problems over regular, what I would call staple issues, the kind of issues that are always there that politicians have to deal with. Even though Israel-Palestine is front and center in the news right now, and we have this war going on over there, it's always one of those issues the politicians have to deal with, take a stand on. And when he took a pro-Israel stance, people from within his own campaign pushed back against him. All the people around him, his base of support, lashed out at him. And yet all the presidential contenders at that time were pro-Israel. To get a different position on that issue, you have to go to other independents who are really not even in the running to be, in a realistic way, to somebody like Cornel West. Doesn't stand a chance. But tonight, RFK Jr. running into, rough waters on the issue of abortion. The media reports tonight saying that he has changed his stance on abortion once again. That's what the headlines are saying he supports abortion up until a certain point rather than at full term. So, again, the media reports tonight are saying that he's following pressure from campaign staff. Or that this is happening after getting pressure from his campaign staff. And so he has announced that he is sort of modifying his stance on full-term abortions. And in a social media post on X, he says, abortion has been a notoriously divisive issue in America, but actually, he says, I see an emerging consensus. Abortion should be legal up until a certain number of weeks and restricted thereafter. He goes on and says, once the baby is viable outside the womb, it should have rights and it deserves society's protection. This abortion issue, very difficult issue to win on politically. I think politicians kind of have to take a stand, make their statement, and then almost stay away from it if they can, because it doesn't matter what you say. You're going to get at least half the country upset with you. Anyway, that's an issue to keep an eye on, but it does seem he's modified his position on it. He is a candidate who can be influenced, it seems, to change his position on things. I kind of wonder, there's been so much intensity surrounding him on that Israel-Palestine Hamas issue. I kind of wonder how much conviction he has on that front. I guess we will see. Speaking of Israel, new orders for evacuation have been issued by Israel. They've issued an urgent warning to evacuate parts of Rafah. This signals an expansion of its military campaign, even though they've had warnings from the United States about attacking Gaza's southernmost city. You have more than 1 million Palestinians still in place there. The Israeli Defense Forces published a map showing that sectors of the city were now considered a dangerous combat zone, and they are warning civilians that they're going to act with extreme force against terrorist organizations in your area of residence. And they go on and they've told people there, everyone in these areas is risking their lives and the lives of their family members. Goes on and says, for your safety, we ask you to evacuate immediately to the humanitarian zone. Now, I ran that audio clip the other night of an IDF soldier communicating with someone in Rafah, a man who has a family there, urging that person to evacuate. And the response from the person in Rafah was, we don't want to leave. And in fact, we want to die so that we can be martyred. Now, some people think that clip was fake. You can make up your own mind on it. I can only say that is the clip as presented. I did preface that by saying, who knows what's authentic these days? But that was the conversation, and that does mesh with the ideology that has been fueling terrorist attacks, suicide bombings, martyrdom being used to further the Palestinian cause. And I was listening to Michael Savage. He had a former terrorist, Muslim terrorist, on his program talking about the ideology. He's since reformed or changed his tune. He's now a Christian. His affiliation with Muslim terrorist organizations, I guess, has been modified. He doesn't do that anymore. Spent some time in custody. Did engage in terrorist activities as well. But anyway, he was saying to Michael Savage that Hamas does use those casualty numbers for propagandic purposes. It's the death and the display of death that generates sympathy and support from the public, as you're seeing on university campuses. Now, the warnings have been issued and issued and issued. Do those people actually have any place to go to get to safety? I guess there are humanitarian zones. So I can only say we're just reporting the news. And there was a story, too, that I didn't finish telling when I was on with Dragon. People are messaging me overnight, upset with me, because I just stated what the law is on property rights. I just stated how the law works when it comes to the University of McGill, and all universities for that matter, having control of that property. That property belongs to the university. They oversee it. The board there, the administrators, they administer, they take care of, they're the caretakers of that facility. Yes, it's funded by the public using tax dollars, but also private donations and other fundraising that takes place in order to fund the university operations there. But it's university property. It's set up as a business entity, essentially, so that it can function on a business level, but it has property rights. They control the property. So this person's like, I strongly disagree with you. And that's making reference to me saying that ultimately, if these protesters have been asked to leave, then that would constitute trespassing if they refuse to. And their rights to protest on university property are limited by whatever restrictions the university chooses to impose upon them. And one of the restrictions was, for instance, not to put up anti-Semitic banners, which they agreed to, which is one of the reasons they've been allowed to stay there as long as they have been. But they don't just have carte blanche to just do whatever they want. And I'm sorry, you can attack me, you can criticize me, you can say you strongly disagree with me if you want to, but what is it that I said that you disagree with? That I'm just telling you how the law works, what the law is? That's what the law is. I didn't say that I was in favor of it or not in favor of it necessarily. I guess maybe I did. I mean, I don't think it's right to restrict Dragon's movement or his freedom of speech. I think you've crossed the line there from protesting into an occupation and into some other realm where maybe even legal action is warranted because you're violating Dragon's rights. What about Dragon? What about anybody else or any other journalist that wants to walk onto that lawn and be on the property there with all the other members of the public? It's not like I wrote the law. So you can disagree with me, but you're not really disagreeing with me. You're just expressing emotion. Minor point. Just a bunch of emails coming in like that last night. Like, I strongly disagree with you. What, because I told you what the law is? It's not like I wrote it. It's not an opinion on whether the university has property rights or not. They do. They just do. That's the way it works. If you don't like it, and you think that the university shouldn't own the property or control it, then, I don't know, change the law. But that's the way property rights work in this country. And in the United States as well. So, just the way it is, man. All right, folks. It is time, I think, for us to take a break. And then we're going to come back. And just two things to take note of. When we come back, we're going to have another segment or episode of Maverick Nights. In this case, the Maverick Knights go to work to save the Earth from a solar storm. So stay tuned for that. And after this program, Strange Bedfellows will be on. And it's a special episode. I'll tell you more about that before we sign off tonight, but just teeing that up as well. And that will be back here on these Maverick channels. So don't go away. Take a quick break and we'll come back on the other side with this newest episode of Maverick Nights.
Greetings, brave Mavericks. Our quest for truth continues. We go beyond fake news. Together we expose propaganda. Together we pull others out of rabbit holes. We are maverick thinkers. We are all unique individuals. Defenders of individual rights and freedoms. Credible. Trusted. Grounded in reality. Maverick News. Maverick News. Defending free speech. Free speech. Donate at freedomreporters.com. Do it now. Tomorrow may be too late. Maverick News. The world is watching. Fighting the Great Reset. By leading the Great Resistance. Maverick News. The antivirus programs for your mind.
Okay. Time for the latest episode of Maverick Nights, our ongoing graphic novel video series. Are you ready? Here we go.
In the vast expanse of the universe, where galaxies collided and cosmic wonders unfolded, a team of extraordinary warriors known as the Maverick Knights stood at the forefront of mankind's defense. Equipped with state-of-the-art cyber warfare suits of armor, each adorned with the iconic M symbol for Maverick on their chests, they were humanity's last hope against the forces that sought to bring chaos and destruction upon them. Under the command of the legendary Sir Richard, a battle-hardened veteran with a heart of gold, the Maverick Knights had faced countless threats and emerged victorious. But now, a new challenge loomed before them, one that would test their skills and determination like never before. Word had reached Sir Richard's ears of an intergalactic solar storm emergency, a cataclysmic event that threatened to obliterate all communications on Earth and plunge humanity into a dark age. This was no ordinary solar storm, it was an orchestrated assault on mankind's very existence. The villain orchestrating this malevolent plan was none other than the infamous Dr. Destructo, a brilliant but twisted scientist with a thirst for chaos. Dr. Destructo had devised a diabolical scheme to launch digital fusion weapons towards the sun, triggering a solar apocalypse. His ultimate goal was to enslave humanity, leaving them helpless and at his mercy. As the world's governments scrambled to find a solution, Sir Richard knew that time was of the essence. With unwavering determination, Sir Richard assembled a team of the Maverick Knights, handpicking only the finest warriors to accompany him on this perilous mission. At the helm of this elite group was Sir Dragon, a fearless and cunning warrior known for his strategic brilliance. Their journey took them through the treacherous depths of space, dodging asteroid belts and navigating through celestial storms. The Maverick Knights' suits of armor hummed with power as they drew closer to the sun, their hearts pounding with anticipation. As they approached their destination, the team faced a series of deadly challenges set by Dr. Destructo. From laser traps to gravity wells, each obstacle tested their mettle and pushed them to their limits. But the Maverick Knights were not ones to back down, and they persevered, inching closer to their goal. Finally, after what felt like an eternity, they reached the sun's surface. The Maverick Knights activated their cyber warfare suits, the M symbol glowing with an ethereal light. With every ounce of strength and determination, they fought against Dr. Destructo's digital fusion weapons, disarming them one by one. As the last weapon was neutralized, a blinding light erupted from the sun, illuminating the vastness of space. The intergalactic solar storm emergency had been averted, and humanity was safe once more. Dr. Destructo's nefarious plan had crumbled under the might of the Maverick Knights. But the battle was not over. Dr. Destructo, driven by his insatiable thirst for power, had escaped capture. The Maverick Knights knew that their duty was far from finished. With renewed determination, they set out to track down their nemesis, vowing to bring him to justice and ensure that humanity would never again face such a devastating threat. And so, the Maverick Knights embarked on a new chapter in their never-ending battle against evil, their cyber warfare suits shining with the promise of a brighter future. With Sir Richard and Sir Dragon leading the charge, they would stop at nothing to protect the world from the forces that sought to destroy it. The Maverick Knights were humanity's shield, and they would forever stand as beacons of hope in the face of darkness.
There you have it, the latest installment of Maverick Knights. Don't go away. Quick break, more news, and then we'll segue straight into Strange Bedfellows at 9 p.m. sharp. Be right back.
The New World Order. Government overreach. The Great Reset. Mainstream media lies. Now more than ever, independent voices are needed. Donate now at freedomreporters.com. That's freedomreporters.com. Maverick News. The antivirus program for your mind.
Here's additional footage tonight of a wildfire. This one right on the border of Alberta and the Northwest Territories. Very far north, and incredible footage. The power of this fire is scary to say the least. Massive plumes of smoke billowing into the air. Around there, it's going to be difficult to see those northern lights tonight. Sky's black. Amazing. Wow. And it is early in the season, folks. So, oh man. Look how fast it's spreading. Wind whipping around. Incredible. Also, tonight, homicide investigators out of British Columbia have laid charges against a fourth Indian national in connection with the killing of Sikh activist Hardeep Singh Nijjar. It happened outside that Surrey Gurdwara last year. Amdeep Singh has been charged with first-degree murder and conspiracy to commit murder. He's 22 years old, was already in custody in Ontario for unrelated firearms charges. So he joins three other people, 22-year-old Karen Brar, 22-year-old Kamalpreet Singh, and 28-year-old Karanpreet Singh. They're facing the same charges in connection to Nijjar's killing. The other three were arrested in Edmonton earlier this month. This, of course, has been a huge story, an international story related to the Khalistani separatist movement. The Indian government has taken exception to the way the government of Canada and RCMP have characterized this, suggesting that the Indian government may have some involvement in this in some way. It has, to say the least, strained relations between Canada and India. Homicide investigators say the arrest shows the true nature of the ongoing investigation to hold responsible those that played a role in the homicide of Hardeep Singh Najjar, according to senior investigators. And that murder shocked the local Sikh community, who see the killing as politically motivated, an assassination conducted on behalf of the Indian government because of Najjar's outspoken support for Sikh independence. After the killing, investigators refused to comment on the suspected motive, but back in September of last year, Prime Minister Trudeau announced that the national security authorities were investigating what he described at that time as credible allegations of a link between the killing and the government of India. And then after that, relations between Canada and India went straight into the drink. Not that they were that great to begin with. But it is an issue of national sovereignty, security, safety, and I would say even immigration policies may be a factor here. It will be interesting to see what happens during these trials when information starts to come out, because we're talking not just about a murder, but a murder investigation and charges related to something that appears to be political in nature. So I can't wait to see what the evidence reveals on the political side. Who knows where that's going to take us? I don't know. I just don't know. Canada, I hardly recognize you as a country anymore, folks. Okay, almost time to move over to the other program. As I say, Strange Bedfellows coming up at 9 p.m. I'll take another quick break here while I get ready to transition over to the other program. Stay with me.
The information war is raging. Truth without integrity is worth nothing. Maverick News. Because those who have power and those who seek it must be held accountable.
The world is watching.
Join our family of truth seekers. Donate today and add your voice to the chorus of Maverick Knights. Donate at maverickdonations.com. Truth. Integrity. It's the Maverick way. Maverick News. The world is watching.
That Eurovision contest, talent contest, festival over in Sweden, man, that's making international headlines. We had that feature interview about a week ago with Pella Neroth-Taylor, journalist, TNT radio personality, author of many books. He was going to Eurovision. Hopefully we can connect with him and get him back on the program, maybe even tomorrow, if we're lucky, to discuss what happened there. That is supposed to be, like, it's one of the biggest festivals in Sweden, and it's supposed to be non-political, but this year it has been nothing but political, with warnings about a possible terror attack, with protests and calls to boycott the festival because there were Israeli artists participating. Just nothing but political controversy surrounding the entire thing. So I know that also a Dutch contestant was booted from the contest over some sort of incident backstage. So this contestant from the Netherlands was expelled from the competition hours before the final. of the Pan-Continental Pop Competition. All we've seen over there is protests over the participation of Israel. Even marches in the street, huge marches in the street. Competition organizer, the European Broadcasting Union, says police were investigating a complaint made by a female member of the production crew against Dutch performer Joost Klein. The organizer said it wouldn't be appropriate for Klein to participate at the event while the legal process was underway. What happened backstage, I wonder? So the motto of the whole festival is United by Music. But we've seen nothing but division in the weeks leading up to the event and during the event itself. And we've seen a massive, large pro-Palestinian demonstration. We've seen protesters saying the country should be excluded, Israel should be excluded because of the way it's conducting the war in the Gaza Strip. And Klein, a 26-year-old Dutch singer and rapper, well, he was a favorite of both bookmakers and fans with his song Europapa. But he failed to perform at 2 dress rehearsals on Friday, and the EBU has said that it was investigating this incident. And Dutch broadcaster Avrotras, one of dozens of public broadcasters, said that Klein, as he came off stage after Thursday's semifinal, he was filmed without his consent and in turn made a threatening movement toward the camera. Oh man, what a mess. Anyhow, that festival is, I think, getting near the end here tonight, and maybe, if not tomorrow, maybe during this week, we'll get a recap on what happened there with Pella in a follow-up interview. So we're about 2 minutes away from Strange Bedfellows this evening. And we're just going to segue straight over into that so you don't have to... I think I've got it set up here tonight in a slightly different way, so we'll be able to just... You can just stay right where you are, and you should be able to continue watching the program as long as you are on YouTube or Rumble. If you're on those platforms, you should be able to continue watching on the main Rumble channel. We'll segue over to that one. And that is in about 90 seconds. Okay, hang on. I'm going to dip off here, and Lori will pick it up on the other side with Strange Bedfellows tonight. So, stay with me. Don't stay with me. I'm not going to be here. She's going to be here with the other program. I'm not co-hosting with her tonight. She's running solo with her guest. So stay tuned.
The sharing of biased and
false news has become all too common on social media.
More alarmingly, some media outlets simply aren't true without checking facts first.
Unfortunately, some members of the media use their platforms to push their own personal bias and agenda to control exactly what people think, and this is extremely dangerous to our democracy.
In an ocean of lies a century deep, the truth awaits. Choose not the red pill. Choose not the blue pill. For both are an illusion. Discover the power of M. The power of individuality. We are Mavericks. We are the way to the light. Fear not the storm. Join our quest for truth. Truth will set you free. Maverick News. The world is watching.